So yes, for anyone who's only ever had emails from me, this is me, and I am here though taking off the training and conferences hat and standing here with another hat that I sometimes wear for BCT, which is as engagement and education officer. And this includes a bit of responsibility for EDI, or equity, diversity and inclusion. I am going to talk about how we can do better. And I'm very aware that my talk is a bit light on back photos. So here are some back photos, just, to keep your attention at least initially. But I think one of the things that hopefully we can all agree on here is that diversity is a good thing. So we have a nice diverse range of photos courtesy of Daniel Hargreaves. So thanks very much for those, Daniel. But as biologists, conservationists, we tend to be in favour of diversity, which is a good start for equity, diversity and inclusion. And so I'm actually not going to focus on diversity initially, because recently we had a strategy day at BCT, and as part of that we got to do a little section on EDI, and I challenged our team to actually reflect on inclusion. So actually thinking about an occasion when they felt included, how did it feel, and what was it about that particular occasion that actually made them feel that way. So feel free to have your own reflections. I'm not going to go around the room and ask everybody because we just don't have time, but here are a few of the things that the BCT staff said. They said they felt welcomed, it was liberating, they felt valued, actually being seen and heard, and that they really did feel part of the team. And this was relating to a diverse set of experiences that they'd each had. And then in terms of what was different about those occasions, there were a variety of things that came up, but it was that the people involved had been proactive and they'd anticipated needs, gone out of their way, or interestingly that it was a surprise invitation where they just didn't expect to be included. And this got me thinking, and weirdly, as I was thinking about the BCT staff's ones, I reflected on dogs, specifically my dogs. So this is Benji and Alfie. Benji is the chocolate one, Alfie is the yellow one. And they're actually rescue dogs. We got them when they were 3 and 5. And they came, as all dogs do. I imagine we've got some dog lovers. I'm sure the same applies to cat lovers and cats as well, but I'm a dog person, I'm afraid. So when they arrived, they've each got their very different personalities. And Alfie goes through the world, so the yellow one here, Alfie gets to go through the world expecting that everyone will be thrilled to see him, and generally that's what the world lives up to. They do. He gets a good welcome. He'll go up to anybody, expects them to make a fuss of him, and generally they do. So Alfie gets to have this lovely world that he goes through. Benji had a bit more of a checkered past before he came to join us, and he was very much the underdog of the pair, and we've done a lot of work with him to build him back up again, help him to feel valued by us and this sort of thing. But it has taken a lot of time and effort to build that relationship. And so one of the challenges, particularly with my role with events and things at BCT, is remembering to take off my Alfie tinted spectacles, because actually I often do get to turn up at events very much with Alfie's approach to things, that I expect to walk in, there's going to be people who look like me there, I'm going to be welcome, I expect to be included, my needs generally have been anticipated, and I get to just go in without worrying about any of those things. But I need to start thinking more about some of the Benjis in the world, because actually, as we've said, diversity is good. We want to have both Alfie and Benji. We'd like everybody to be there. BCT's mission is about having this, our vision is about having a world where bats and people thrive together. And we want this to apply to all people. So, where are we now? Things are challenging at the moment. I'm going to have to pick up my pieces of paper at this point because I couldn't remember these statistics off the top of my head. So in 2017, there was a report done looking at the environmental sector more broadly, and it estimated that only 4.81% of environmental professionals were people of colour. And this is compared with, at that point, an average that was 12.64 across the whole workforce. So severely behind. In fact, the second least diverse sector in the UK, only farming was behind us. So we're really not doing very well in this area. There's actually, so BCT is an area that we are interested in. And so we've last year signed up to the RACE report, which is actually looking to gather data. They're campaigning for this racial diversity at work in the environmental sector, but they are actually looking to gather anonymized data, but to actually start measuring the trends, see how we're doing, and help us, hopefully, through that accountability to do better. So we did share our data last year as part of it about the BCT staff, along with a whole range of other organisations. And so when the data came out in December 2022, 7% of those working in the environmental charity sector are from Black, Asian or minority ethnic groups. And this compares with now it's a 14% average across the workforce. So things may be changing a little bit, but we've still got a long way to go. Now, one of the other organisations that we work with is the LINK, the Wildlife and Countryside LINK group. And this is an area that they've also been putting a lot of work into. We help contribute to the route map, and we're now starting to implement some of the recommendations, looking at some of the organisational milestones we can work on to try and improve our ethnic diversity, both within BCT staff, across our volunteers, our members, using this as a lens in lots of different ways. The interesting thing about the route map, though, is that although it was written specifically focused on diversity, it can also be applied to look at other protected characteristics or underrepresented groups. So this is what we're trying to do at BCT, is take some of those ideas and apply them not only within racial diversity, but looking at all these other lenses as well. So physical disabilities, gender, neurodiversity, all these different areas that we can focus on, because actually we want to do better. If we want to be supporting everyone, we want all people and VATs to be thriving together, we need to be considering all people. So this isn't something that's new for BCT. Some of you may well remember the Count Back project. So that was 2008 to 2012. It focused very much on engagement, external, trying to reach out to some of these different audiences and reaching as broad a spectrum of people as possible. It then had these resources that are available on our website, if you know where to look for them. We're not done very well at making those available still. And so while there is this great legacy and some great lessons learned, actually, some of that has probably really been on the shelf gathering dust since 2012. So there is definitely one area that we can start to try and do a bit better. So what else have we been doing at BCT? We are part of a number of EDI partner groups. I mentioned LINK, we're one with Rethink Nature, and there's some at different levels as well. We've got our own EDI working group, and this is across the organisation. It has departmental representation, but also across the different levels. So we have SMT and trustee representation, but we also have it going down at all the other levels within BCT as well. As I said, we've signed up to and submitted data to the RACE report. We input into the route map and following the milestones. We've rolled out unconscious bias training for line managers, and we're also rolling out some anti-oppression training for all BCT staff. And we even now have an EDI section to our library. We also last year were able to get some funding for 2 Kickstarter roles, and this year we've got one of the new to nature role who is starting very soon. There we go, next month, 17th of April, we were actually fortunate that so this is very much focused on introducing people to roles in the environmental sector from diverse backgrounds, so either with a physical disability, from a low socioeconomic background, or from a minority ethnic group. And of the 25 applicants we had for that role, all except one were from at least one of those categories. And so we've also been learning from that how to make improvements to our recruitment practices, because actually some of these barriers to connecting and engaging with people can be in places that we're not always aware of. So we've got ongoing work to improve that. We've also been looking at our MBMP, the wonderful volunteers that we have there, but also looking at how we can reach out to more people from more diverse backgrounds there. So when we did an initial survey in 2021, there were 2.2% of the MBMP volunteers were people of colour or from minority groups, and 3.3% preferred not to say. Since then, when we look at the data now, we've got 3.7% are people of colour or from minorities, and 2.7% prefer not to say. So again, still not getting up to that 14% of the national workforce, but starting to move slowly in the right direction. We touched on Night Watch earlier, and I think I was looking to see, I don't think Carol mentioned the statistic that I wanted to give, which is that over the last 2 years of all the people who've engaged with Night Watch, and it is trying again to reach these, some of our harder to reach audience, reaching more urban and particularly minority ethnic groups, 25% of the volunteers who got involved over the last 2 years have come from are people of colour or from minority ethnic groups, which is really encouraging that when we are making this effort, actually people do want to get involved and find out more about bats and other nocturnal wildlife. You might have noticed the differences at our conferences over the last couple of years. So whether it is that we're asking you about your pronouns to help people feel more included in that way. We've been offering some widening participation bursaries to try and reach some people who may not be able to afford to attend otherwise. We've also used it as an opportunity to shine a spotlight on taboo or underexplored topics. So we also use things like our International Day of Women and Girls in Science panel discussions to explore topics like opportunities and challenges for women and girls in bat science and conservation. And it's not often that I have to hold myself down when I'm moderating a Zoom experience, but this was one of them, because we talked about menstruation in field work. And I wanted to jump up and down, because how often do you hear about menstruation in field work? But actually we should be talking about some of these challenges more often. And we were able to follow that up with a workshop at the National Bat Conference and talk about not only that, but menopause, motherhood, and some of these other challenges as well. Remembering to breathe. But one of the things that is very true about all of these things is that we are learning as we go. We don't get it right all the time. We've still got things that we want to do better. You know, I try to be really conscious of my language and my choice of words, and I still don't get it right all the time. But it is something that we are committed to, and we want to continue to make changes. One of the things, though, with this work is that if we really want to make changes across the sector, we can't do it alone. We do need other people to come on this journey with us. And so I'm around. I don't know how much time I'm leaving myself for questions right now, but if you or your back group are interested in these things, or you want to learn more about what the NBMP have done or Night Watch have been doing to engage with more diverse volunteers or any of this kind of work, please do get in touch with us. We would love to have more allies out there doing this kind of work, helping us all to perhaps to remember to take off our alfie tinted spectacles and to help more people feel included to join in with conserving the bats that we all love. So I'm pretty sure I'm out of time, even though my timer is doing something weird right now. But you've got my email address. You wouldn't be here if you hadn't had an email from me. So please do get in touch if you do have any questions, thoughts, suggestions. As I said, we're still learning and still improving. Thank you very much.